So in today's video, we are going to add our first wallpaper, okay, into the system. So we are going to add that from the admin view. This is the admin, right? We are going to add a new wallpaper, and when we select on category name, it should take us to this category screen, so we'll be able to select category and then pick the name, right? That's what we are going to be doing now. And also users should be able to select wallpaper image, users should be able to select tag and then upload. Okay, all right, so let's go to our admin. I think we have our admin. Where is the admin again? So we have the admin provider. Okay, so inside this admin provider, what we are going to be doing now is to have we are going to have two things actually. Two getter and setter, which is category name, which is the selected category, wallpaper image as well. Okay, so this is it, selected category and the wallpaper image. It's still similar with what we already have previously, right, for category name and category image, but we want to make things simpler, right? And also for the tag, when users should be able to add tag, and users should be able to delete tag when they click on this button. So what we are going to do here, I'm going to create a list, and the tag is going to be list of strings, like, right? So I'm going to have a string, and I will call this wallpaper tags. Okay, and by default it's going to be an empty string, which is more like the initial state. So here we're going to have the get wallpaper tags, right? And then I'm going to create a void set wallpaper tag. Okay, and we are going to have the set wallpaper tag is going to take a string, right, with a value which is more like the tag, right? So we are going to check first, because when you click, we are going to use the same method, right, to add and also remove wallpaper tag. So you can have something like normally I need to like reduce it to a lower case. All right, so I can say if wallpaper, let's say wallpaper tags, right, dot contains, like if it does not contain the wallpaper value, right, if it doesn't contain it, so what we are going to do now is to say we are going to say wallpaper tags, right, dot add. Okay, we are going to add a lower wallpaper. Okay, I think I'm going to make it unique though, so one method should not handle the button. If wallpaper does not contain this, you can go ahead and add, right? So you cannot add duplicate. Let's say first you want to add two tags the same, it's going to throw error, like it's not going to add. So we're going to have another one to remove wallpaper tag. Okay, so here now we have the lowercase, right? Once you pass the wallpaper, we are going to say if wallpaper tag that contains value, we are going to call remove. Okay, so that's basically what is happening. And once we do that, you can now call update state to update the state. Also do the same thing here to update state. All right, so that's pretty much it for adding and also removing wallpaper tags. And also we have our wallpaper selected category and wallpaper image. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now is to create a collection reference for adding wallpaper. Okay, it's going to be completely different from category. Okay, so now that we have this tool in place, what I'm going to do next is to go over to, I need to create the validator for category, right? Let's go to our add wallpaper screen. So here now, what I'm going to be doing here, let's go up a little bit. So I'm going to remove this for now. So I'm going to wrap this our scaffold widget with a consumer, right? So we're going to have the admin provider and we have our consumer. Okay, and remove this, we are going to have the state and child. Since we are not using the child, let's just use underscore, right? And here I'm going to set put a widget that says busy overlay. So this busy overlay is going to be called when we are trying to, when view state is equal to view state dot busy, right? All right, so now moving on, we are going to now set the category name. So what happens here now is this is going to be tappable, right? When the user clicks on category name, right, we are going to open up the category view screen. Okay, from the category view screen, users will now be able to add a category, right? You're going to select a category and we're going to check if it's admin. If it's admin, you will pick the category and then pop it back. So this is more like me showing you how to navigate to a screen and then send data back from that screen once you return back. So what we are going to do now, we are going to go over to our config, and I think it's going to have like is admin true, more like a state, right? And then when they click on it, it's going to return them back. All right. So we're going to open our config and our router. Just look for where we have the okay. So inside here, I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to call this category, right? It's more like view category, right? So this is Go router. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to accept data. Let's convert it to a block method. So I'm going to show you how to send data from another screen to this one. So we have our category screen. All right, and here we have our category screen. Okay. And inside this category screen, I think I need to create me is admin. So we need to know whether to return a data or to take the user into the view wallpaper by category screen. Okay. So this is going to be by default dot is admin equal to false, right? So is admin is going to be false here. So that means by default, it's just going to be false. Okay. Then we are going to set, let's go back. So if okay, let's just go back one step. Okay, so let's say here now, when we are passing the data, we are going to have is admin, right? Because whenever you're calling this screen, we need to send an extra in form of a map, right? So we can just have something like is admin. Okay, so here now we can have the is admin and just call is admin. Okay. So whichever guy that is calling this guy will definitely need to pass the isAdmin map. Okay. So now we have this. We are now going to go one step backward again. And now inside this side where we have this guy, what we are going to do here now in this category screen is this wallpaper screen is more like to call the method. Let's say we're going to use, because you know when you're using navigator.pop.then, navigator.push.then, right? You're waiting for the data that you're going to return, more like the result. So here we are going to do the same thing and say await, right? We can just say context.push, okay, and put the path name, which is going to be category, all right? And then we can pass our extra, which is going to be a map, and make sure the name matches what you are listening to. So it's admin by default, the value is going to be true. So we're going to check if the result, right, is not equal to null. That means user selected something. So what I'm going to do here is to say state dot selected category equal to the result dot to string. Okay, so that's pretty much it, because you just selected a string. All right. Okay, so now what we can do here now, instead of showing the category name directly, what we are going to show is the value that the user selected. Okay, whatever value that was selected needs to be passed here, right? For now it's empty, so that's why you can see it's just showing empty. So let me show you guys now how to select this. When we go here, right? Okay, something is wrong. Let me just do a hot restart. So while it's restarting, I'm going to go to the category screen. Yeah, so inside the category screen, what we are going to do here now is more like when the user selects an item. Okay, so you go to add wallpaper, right? Click on category. Okay, it's going to fetch the category. For admin, when you select the category, it should pop you back to the add category screen, right? Then populate this data with the data. But if you are not an admin, you're a normal user, it should open up a new screen that shows view category. But we are not going to handle that for now. So what I'm going to do here now, we are going to wrap this with a gesture detector. Real quick, let's wrap it with a gesture detector. So it's going to be tappable, right? All right. So what I'm going to do here now is more like if the widget dot is admin, right? So we are going to call this navigator context.pop, right? We can now call the category.category name.toString. We are sending it back to the user. So else, if the user is not an admin, right, we can now navigate the user to view wallpaper by category. Okay, so this is what we are going to do, but for now we can just leave it like this. So save it and let's just go back. Okay, for now let's just assume we did not select anything, right? So if I click here now and click one plant, you can see now it has populated the plant. If I click this, you can see it has also populated the vehicle. So now the category name is vehicle, right? So now we can move back to where we were doing that stuff, which is our image. Okay, so for the image, we're also going to do the same thing that we did for the category, right? So what we're going to do is just to call the image part from source and then set it to the value. Okay, just like this, and make sure you import it, right? So if we save it and try to select a category, and I think one other thing is missing. If I select this image, for instance, it's supposed to show the preview here, right? So we have not handled that, which is what I'm going to do next. So I'm going to check if the image is null, right? We just have to return something else. Else we are going to return the file, just the same way we did for profile, for category. So now if you select another image, you can see it's just like, you know, duplicating what we already have for image. So this is pretty much cool. So now let's do for the tag. When the user types in something and clicks enter, the tag is going to take effect, and then we can save our wallpaper, right? So quickly, what I'm going to do now is to check, because I want this tag for users to only be able to add 5 tags, not more than 5. So that way, I'm going to add something called a read-only, right? So when the state.wallpaper tags, right, .length is greater than, let's say is greater than or equal to 5, we are going to return true. Else we are going to return false here. Okay, and unchanged, once the user on feed submitted, we are going to clear the tags controller and then set the wallpaper tag. We are going to add it into the list. Okay, so we have the set wallpaper tag. Okay, this is more like a tag controller, and this is going to be set wallpaper tags. Okay, cool. So when a user clicks this, but let's just finish it up so that you can see the previous ones that was added. So what I'm going to do here now is more like to show I'm going to show if the decoration is let's say yeah, this is now going to be the length of the added category, right? The selected tag, sorry, wallpaper tags. Okay, dot length, right? Oops, this is not it. Think something, no, let's just leave the spacing as it is. Okay, so this is going to be the length of the wallpaper, right? And now here we can now have the data equal to this, right? And then this name is now going to be the data, right? So let's remove this and save it. So also when user tries to delete, we can now have state.remove. We can now send the data into this. All right, so save it up. All right, now we have not added anything, we have not done anything, right? So now I'm going to add hello, right, and click enter. You can see the tag has been added. You can now say car, right, which is, and you can say people, right? When you click enter, it's going to show. If you are using your keyboard, you can just say something like vehicle. Okay, let's just say if you add car again, which is already here, it's not going to save, right? But let's say we add red. You can see it has been added. You can also remove the ones that are not needed. So you can have your, let me remove the keyboard. So we can have car, right? You can have vehicle. So if you add more than, let's say you add like more than 5 items, this is not going to be tappable anymore. You can see it's no longer tappable, right? So this is pretty much it for adding a tag. So now the next thing we are going to do now is to save this user's data, like to save the wallpaper into the database, right? So remember, we already have our method that calls save wallpaper, right? I'm going to do the same thing that we did for our category. So we have our async here, right? So inside here we have to do this, more like to validate the if category dot empty, please select a category. If category tags is empty, if wallpaper is empty, please select wallpaper. If wallpaper image is null, please select a wallpaper image, right? So once everything is validated, we can now call state.save wallpaper, right? And with that, we can also do the same thing we did for collection, more like to show the necessary dialogue, okay? So we can just say if view state is error, we show success. If view state is success, we show wallpaper was successfully saved and available for use, okay? So now let's go and write the implementation for saving our wallpaper into our system. The first thing I'm going to do is to add an async to this, right? Make it asynchronous. All right, and here we are now going to show this, okay? And from here, we are now going to use our try catch, okay? And we can say catch, more like to just show the, the errors for Firebase auth and also Firebase, Firebase exception, basically. So we have to show the update status, okay? I think something is missing, okay? All right, so in our try here, we are now going to create our wallpaper model, okay? Because I will definitely have a wallpaper model that we are going to use. So let's go back to our typing code here. So inside here now, remember we already created something like this. So what I'm going to do here now, we're going to have wallpaper ID, right? You have the author ID, right? Because we need to know who added the data, right? So we need to add a author ID, right? Which is, and we're also going to have the author, right? So the author ID will be used when we want to like fetch, if we want to fetch the wallpaper added by an admin, okay? So I don't know, but it looks like we are having error here, okay? So this is pretty much everything that is needed, okay? So I can now go ahead and change this guy from wallpaper to wallpaper model, okay? Save it, then come back here. We have our model here, so I'm going to create a wallpaper model, right? And put it in here. So feel free to remove this one as well, okay? So once this is done, we can now create our wallpaper model and then pass in the necessary data, right? So here now we can create our payload, but before that, remember we need to upload the image, just the same thing we did for our category, right? We need to copy this, upload the image, okay? So we have this, we are passing the wallpaper image, right? So if this response is successful, we can now create the payload for the wallpaper model, okay? So we have the wallpaper model, right? We have the wallpaper ID. By default, we're going to set it to null. We have the wallpaper image, right? We're going to pass the URI this. We are going to send the wallpaper tags, the date created, and the user object. So for this, since we are using Firebase, we are going to get the user object by calling user, right? .firebase auth.instance.current user, okay? So this is going to give us all the payloads that we need to save our first wallpaper, all right? So once we have that in place, what we are going to do next now is to add our wallpaper. And once we add wallpaper, we are going to set the other values, all these values to empty, and then we can call view state dot success, okay? Now everything is looking pretty, right? So let's save this and try to add our wallpaper. We already added vehicles, the tags. So click on continue. You can see how please wait is showing, uploading document to server. Tags completed, you can see success, wallpaper was successfully saved, and everything has been cleared. So let's go back to our wallpaper, like our Firestore database. You'll be able to see the necessary things, which is more like you'll be able to see the wallpaper that was added. You can see the name. This is my email, this is my name, this is my UID. You can see the auto ID, the vehicle, which is the category name, dates created, and all the tags, right? And the image, okay, the wallpaper image. All right guys, so this is pretty much everything I want you to see about creating or adding your wallpaper. So in the next section we are going to view our wallpaper and also make everything look cool. All right, see you guys in the next video.